Greetings, parents for public schools. I want to commend you on 30 years of advocating for parents and for public education in the United States. Your advocacy is so vital, so important, especially now as we've seen during the pandemic when so many parents were really critical to making sure that children got the education they received and making sure that the kids were safe and healthy during this long, prolonged period of quarantine. Your role continues to be important because, as we know, parents are a child's first and most important teacher. It is through parents that children learn, first of all, language and how to use language effectively to advocate for themselves and to communicate with others. But parents also play a vital role in providing the values and the character that kids need to be successful in school and in life. All the research shows that when parents reinforce the importance of learning at home, children do better academically. This is why your organization is critical, because you send the message to parents and to schools about how important it is for parents to stay involved, even as kids get older, when we know very often they don't want you involved. As my mother often said, small kids give us small problems, big kids give us big problems. The older ones, middle schoolers, high schoolers, who may not tell you when there's trouble at school, who may not tell you when they're struggling in a class, they need you too. And they need you to know that you care about what's happening with them in school and to their future, not to pressure them. Because I meet too many parents now who are applying too much pressure and contributing to stress and anxiety in children, but enough encouragement and guidance to let them know that education is critical to their future. Neither of my parents graduated from college or even from high school, but they managed to send me and my 5 brothers and sisters to college. I often say that was because they impressed upon us how important it was for us to pursue our education and to do our very best in school. All parents can do that, regardless of how much education they've had. They can always make sure that children get to bed on time, that they get to school on time, that they do their homework, and that they take their education seriously. So I want to encourage you to continue the advocacy, continue to do this work, especially now because we are faced with 2 serious threats that ironically come from parents. First, we are faced with the threat of selfishness. There are parents out there who put the interest of their child above the interest of other children. And we're seeing this now in the way the controversies around vaccines and masks are playing out. We need to make sure that when we think about what is safe and appropriate for children, we think about all children and the teachers and staff that work with them. No one should have to go to a school where they have to worry about their health and safety. At the same time, we need to be reasonable. And it looks like we're going to have to live with this COVID virus for years to come. And so we're going to have to find ways to go about our normal activities, including school, without the constant fear of being infected. I know that for parents, and I'm a parent myself, this is a matter of great concern. But we're going to have to be reasonable and practical in how we approach this and not be selfish and put the interest of our child or put our fears above the interest of other children. So I want to encourage you as an organization to be an advocate for reasonableness, for sanity, during a period when so many people are demonstrating selfishness and irrational fears and anger. That relates to the second danger that we face, coming from parents, at least in some cases, and that is the politicization of school boards, the ways in which school board members, superintendents, teachers, principals are coming under attack for what they teach in school, because there are many out there who fear teaching our children the truth about America's history. America has a history to be reckoned with, a history of racial hatred, of slavery, of genocide. It also has a proud democratic tradition, a tradition of civil rights, human rights, women's rights, disabled rights. We need to teach our kids both the good and the bad. The only way we can become a more just and more equitable society is if we reckon with our past. Those who attempt to silence that past, those who attempt to ban books and who threaten our teachers and our leaders because they're trying to carry out and fulfill their educational duties, pose a risk to public education and to our democracy. So I encourage you as an organization to speak up and to speak out. This is not a time for silence. It is a time to defend the rights of children, to defend the rights of educators, and to ensure that public education can continue to provide our education with the kind of skills and knowledge they will need to distinguish misinformation from facts, fake news from real news, to understand that climate change is real and what we must do to prepare for it. Education is critical to our future. And so I want to encourage your organization, my organization, as parents, to continue to speak out with courage and with clarity during these very uncertain times we're in. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service, your advocacy, and your efforts. As a dean of a school of education at the University of Southern California, where we train more leaders than any other institution in the state, I am proud to say that this organization, Parents for Public Schools, is a partner and an ally in the work of reviving and supporting public education. Thank you, and I wish you all the very best.